In today's video, we are going to piss off the Dragon Ball community as Valentine's Day is on its way, and in today's video we will discuss why Broly x Cheelai is weird, and arguably the weirdest ship in Dragon Ball history outside of one ship that cannot be defeated as being the weirdest, which is Tarbell and Gyur, and the reason why this has to win is because of the fact that it's not only the weirdest ship, but it actually technically exists. So you can't beat something that actually exists in the Dragon Ball universe, as Gyur is actually Tarbell's wife. But either way, going back to what we were talking about with Broly and Cheelai, it all starts off with us discussing the huge elephant in the room. And of course, this is the racial compatibility. Now, we've seen some interesting colored humanoid-like characters in the Dragon Ball universe. Characters like Jace and Salza, and even you have a character like Raccoon who looks completely human even though he's technically an alien. So I guess maybe it's theoretically possible that, you know, Broly and Cheelai could have a kid, and if you know anything about the shipping community, not only have they shipped Broly and Cheelai together, but they've given them kids. Now, when you consider this, and the fact that we're not even fully sure how they would be able to breathe, that's just the icing on the cake as to why this is weird, because if they did have a kid, what would the kid look like? I mean, would you have like a completely green kid? I mean, it's just getting weird just imagining them having a kid on top of the fact that, you know, obviously they're two totally different species visually. And then when we move on to the other reason, we have to talk about the fact that Broly is not a romantic character. Now, that's not to say that Vegeta and Goku are, you know, Romeo as compared to Juliet, but in the case of Broly, I mean, you're literally talking about probably the most socially underdeveloped adult in the Dragon Ball universe, and this is a major statement considering the fact that the main character of the Dragon Ball series is Goku. But when you think about it, because of the experiences that Goku had when he was a kid, especially meeting Bulma, he had a lot of social development compared to Broly. And when you actually look at Goku and Broly's lives, they're actually rather similar to each other when you look at the parallel events of their lives. Both of their lives were completely changed as kids, as they were basically shipped over to another planet. Both lost a father or a father figure in the case of Grandpa Gohan and Paragus, and many years later, both of these characters reunited with other Saiyans. So, Goku and Broly have a lot in common, where they basically had to grow up in a wild-like setting and kind of figure out how to survive on their own. But because of the experiences that Goku had with Bulma, he went through a lot of different experiences, as obviously Dragon Ball is based off of Journey to the West, and he developed a lot as a character, whereas Broly as a grown adult basically met other living beings that are sapient at a much later age in his life, and as a result of that, his social development is completely stunted even compared to a character like Goku. So when you consider that, and the fact that Cheelai is taking on somewhat of like a Bulma-like role, where she's kind of like his big sister, holding his hand through these awkward situations, you kind of get yourself in a situation where it kind of feels wrong for Cheelai to end up with Broly, whereas like Broly's kind of like the muscle that like protects Cheelai and Lemma, where they're kind of like his pseudo-parents. But for her to actually, like, be in a relationship with Broly just seems weird. Like, when we go back and we look at that scene where Broly was defending her on Frieza's spaceship against that random alien guy, I interpreted that scene as Broly was just kind of trying to be, like, a big, strong brother, or, like, a masculine essence in her life to protect her from that guy. I never felt of it being something like a romantic scene or Broly's in love with her, and it's just kind of weird to even think of a character like Broly ever having any sort of romance at all. You could also say that, well, Chi-Chi obviously ended up with Goku, and she kind of holds his hands through trying to have a normal life too. And in the case of Chi-Chi, at least Bulma and the other characters that Goku met throughout his life during the earlier parts of Dragon Ball helped him grow enough that he could be a quote-unquote husband, even though Goku didn't even really understand what marriage was when he was originally promising that he was going to get married to Chi-Chi. So as a result of all of that, guys, it just doesn't really fit. It just seems like Broly and Cheelai were designed to be like a brother-sister friendly type of relationship, and for the community to ship it, I mean, by all means, be creative, you know, put your fan fiction out there, it's all fun and games, but ultimately it's just always felt very weird. Very, 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 very weird.